behind the scenes with future country rock blues kings and queens. Discover them first with Palm Mash TV. Palm Mash TV.
Well, hello there, Palm Mash TV time again. Thank you so much for joining us. Another great interview is coming up in just a moment. But before we begin, don't forget about that subscribe and bell button as usual down there, and you're always going to be notified of any new episodes coming your way. And if you'd like to leave a comment on the comment section, go ahead. We'd love to hear from you there. And pay attention to the description part as well as the closing credits at the end of the show, because we're going to have contact info for you. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that. From Seattle, Washington today, we have Scott Vanover, and he's a very awesome artist. I think you're going to agree. And we'll get to that in a second, but first here's another quick word from the Caden Gordon Show and Woody's Drumsticks. And remember, if you check out at Woody's Drumsticks, type Palm Mash TV as the code, and you'll always get 10% off your order. So without further ado, we'll be right back right after this.
It is Caden from the Caden Gordon Show. Today's best country mix. Check out my show at thecadengordonshow.com.
At Woody's Drumsticks, we focus all of our sticks on being a hair longer than everybody else's. Why? Well, all of our sticks are going to be going through the same quality control process as every other stick on the planet. However, the extra length gives you an extended reach, so you can reach for higher cymbals. It makes the sticks last a little longer. We put our shorter taper at the end, which gives more girth in the base of the stick and allows you to play for longer, better, stronger, faster. So once you switch from one brand to Woody's, you'll never go back, and that's a guarantee.
Okay, we're back, and with us from Seattle, Washington today, we have Scott Vanover. Thanks for joining us, Scott.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to have you here. Well, how did it all begin as far as being an artist in your end? Did you grow up in a musical family? Did you just decide to try it once? Or what? I mean, everybody's got their own story, though. Tell us in your own words. We'd love to hear.
Well, mine's kind of a unique situation. I was a foster child. I was raised in the system, and just heard my first song on a radio and became obsessed with music right away, and became an addiction. And then I told myself that's something I really want to do growing up. It actually helped me through my childhood too, to get through a lot of the trauma and all that I went through. And started playing in a band when I was 18, picked up an instrument. I was a drummer. I wasn't a very good drummer, I could tell you that. But it was fun, just to go and have something to do, and blow some steam and frustrations and be motivated with stuff. So, I did that. Was in a few bands, one from Wenatchee and one from Spokane. And then I quit music there for a while. I'm a father. I had a child that was in the hospital, so I had to focus on my fatherly priorities and my duties, which was to work and take care of my kids and to be there when for their medical complications. I went from 2013 until 2020. We all know 2020 was COVID. There wasn't really much anybody could do. I worked one of those jobs where it was you weren't an essential employee, you're a non-essential employee. So pretty much got to sit around my house and do nothing, and which was boring. But I decided to get back into making music. And the direction I went, I have to admit, I probably should have chosen a different direction when I first started. But it was fun to get back into it, start relearning how to self-produce and all that and do it all myself. So got into making electronic music. Then one day in 2023, I decided to go get myself a piano and told myself I want to make music strictly from an instrument, not, trying to steal somebody else's ideas or using somebody else's beats and mixing and mashing stuff together. So I decided to get myself a piano and start making my own music. And it was actually suggested to me too. A lot of people were like, a lot of people have heard that type of music. People have heard that electronic music. Why don't you create something unique that's your sound, that's all about you? And that's what I did. I started creating. And I didn't want to create like music that was like people wouldn't relate to. I wanted to create music that people could relate to, and that's when I came up with the instrumental type stuff and got into Christian music. And then I went into a ministry program, and then I became an ordained minister and continued making Christian music. And not all my music's Christian. There's some love songs out there, some sad songs, some remembrance songs. The video that I sent you, Always and Forever, is actually a song about my daughter, Abigail, who passed away in 2015. The video itself doesn't depict that because I didn't want to put a video out there about a child passing away. I wanted it to be about a gentleman who went off to serve a country, and unfortunately his unit got ambushed, and he was brought back to the States to be remembered. But I wanted that video to be more or less, like, don't forget the ones that have gone, like, even though they're gone, they're not really forgotten. So that's what Always and Forever is about. So yeah.
Okay, well, that's a great story there, and I'm glad you're still doing what you're doing. What were some of the influences you had growing up? Were there anybody that was in the instrumental, or did you have other artists that influenced you?
Oh man, you're gonna laugh about this. So I was a big teeny bopper back then. I was into like that boy band stuff, like NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys. That's actually what I got into first before I started getting into rock music and all the other stuff, the instrumental music, the Christian music. And I wanted to be one of those guys on a stage jumping around and dancing and singing music. But as I got older, I realized, yeah, I don't really resemble that. So everybody's got their own unique abilities, and pop music just wasn't mine. So,
Yeah, those, like you said, there were a lot of those back then. Like Backstreet Boys, New Kids on the Block. There was a lot of those going around back in the day. So,
yep.
and
Well,
then
it's still going around these days too. But I mean, everybody wants the NSYNC reunion, and of course, it's not going to happen. So, per what they're saying, I mean, I don't really know that what they got planned, but it is what it is. I mean, last time they said they weren't going to reunite, they went and made 2 songs, and then they did a bunch of performances, and they did a performance as a 4-man group, not a 5-man group, and they're saying it again, so we'll see.
okay, well, why don't you tell us a little bit more about how we can find out more about you? Are you on the official website, social media, streaming media, things like that? Go ahead and tell us about that.
So you can find all my music on worldwide streaming platforms. There's some songs you can only find on Spotify, Amazon, Deezer, Facebook, Instagram, and I don't know what that means though in network bandwidth. Then you can find me on Facebook and Instagram as well. You can go and follow me there. You can follow me on Reverb Nation. I'm not really posting that much on Reverb just because it's a subscription you got to pay for every month, and I'm kind of tired of paying for it. So I might end up getting rid of that site. And they kind of take forever to distribute music too. So, it's kind of like you distribute it and 2 weeks later you finally see it and you're like, wow, okay, that took forever. So I use like CD Baby to distribute all my stuff. I'm on I'm on SoundCloud. You can find me on SoundCloud. And then of course I'm not signed to, I'm partnered with God Songs USA, their record label. It's owned by a guy named Michael Daigle. Aigle is his last name, and he's got a band that he performs with, and very good too. So I partnered with his record label to promote my music and have my music up on his website. I am slated to sign with Paper Garden Records here soon, but there's some holdups with that. When it comes to the electronic sign, I am signed to a label, Mustache Crew Records. They have one of my songs out, and I'm actually going to be releasing another song through them, but we're kind of still in talks about all that stuff. It's kind of a slow process right now because I sent my whole album to them for the A&R to check out. So it's kind of a slow process with that. But yeah, you can find me pretty much all on there. I don't have X account, the Twitter account. So yeah, if anybody's receiving like any friend requests and all that from me, like on Twitter and all that, that's not me. So I encourage people to really check into me and other artists that are out there. Send us messages and ask us questions, and we'll tell you whether or not we sent you that friend request. So if it's not me posting or it's weird posts, it's not me. So
Okay. All right. Well, check them everywhere and on the streaming sites, like I mentioned to you, and I know you won't be disappointed. And we're getting ready to play that song, Always and Forever, in just a second here. But Scott, I want to thank you so much again for being on the show. You're welcome to come back anytime you want to plug something new. So let me know, and we'll see what we can do on that.
all right, thanks, Paul. I really appreciate you having me on your show. And again, sorry I had to reschedule with you. It's just, I've got work and
Yeah,
I've got to
I
work.
understand.
So, but I really appreciate you having me on your show today.
Yeah, no
Thank you.
problem. I'm glad to have you here. And without further ado, here's Always and Forever by Scott Vanover. It begins right now.